Substitution into expressions is where I define that x is some number and then I have an expression and I go through and then I'm going to substitute instead of x, I'll put a 3. So over here, I'm going to have 3 plus 1. Now, one of the problems that can arise, and we'll see in the next problem, is that when you substitute, you really should put parentheses around there. So then I have 3 plus 1, and I'm going to do that for the next line. So I underline the operation that I'm going to do on the next line. So 3 plus 1 is 4. And that's the final answer. So in this example, I have both an x and a y that are defined. X is 4 and y is 2. And then I have an expression that says xy plus y. Well, when a letter's next to another letter, just as if I had a number next to a letter, it means 2 times x. This means x times y. And watch what happens when I substitute and I don't use parentheses. So I put a 4 here, I put a 2 here, and for this y, I put a 2 here. Well, this looks like the number 42, but it's not. What it really means is 4 times 2. And even though I don't really need it over here because it's not next to another number, I'm just going to put parentheses around there. So then for the next line, I'm going to do 4 times 2 is 8, and then I bring down what I didn't use. Over here, there's nothing around the 2, so I no longer need the parentheses. And then the next thing I'm going to do is 8 plus 2, and that's 10. And that's our final answer. In this example, I have 2 times x, so I'm going to write 2 times 3. And if I didn't put that parentheses there, it would look like 23. And then over here, I have 3 times y, which is 5. And then it says minus y, which is also 5. So each time I substitute, I'm going to use parentheses. Now I'm going to go left to right, which is the main rule in algebra. And I'm going to do this one first. 2 times 3 is 6. I bring down the plus, and I have 3 times 5 is 15. And then I bring down the minus, and there's nothing around this 5, so I don't need the parentheses. I can just bring it down. Now, when I have addition and subtraction, if you recall, PEMDAS, multiplication and division are considered the same operation, considered equal weighting, and addition and subtraction are the same. So when I have both addition and subtraction, I use the rule from algebra that says left to right. I do these two first, and I get 21, and then I have minus 5. And then I do these two last, and 21 minus 5 is 16. In this problem, we have a fraction, and there's 2x in the numerator and 4y in the denominator, and this actually means to divide. So what I'm going to do is, right next to it, I'm going to write 2 and times, and I'm replacing the x with a 4. There's my substitution. And then I'm going to do 4 times y, which is 4 times 4. Next thing I'm going to do is 2 times 4 is 8. And then I have 4 times 4 is 16. And this reduces. 8 goes into itself once, and 8 goes into 16 2 times. So this answer is 1/2. This problem has what looks like the distributive property in the beginning. I have an x and a y. X is 4, so I'm going to continue by substituting. And inside, when I substitute for this, it kind of looks a little strange. You have parentheses inside parentheses. This is 4 plus 3. Plus 3, and y is 4. I'm going to substitute that with parentheses. And now, PEMDAS says parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction. And although this is addition and we would think it would come last, it's inside parentheses, so parentheses comes first. So I bring down the 2, and then inside it's 4 plus 3, which is 7, plus, and I can just do the 3 times 4, that's 12. Then I have multiplication here. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 12. And last I have my addition, and it's 26. This problem introduces fractions for my x and y, so when I go to substitute, I have 2 times, and in parentheses is going to be 1/2. And since I'm multiplying, I want to turn this 2 into a fraction. Any number can be turned into a fraction by putting it over 1, plus, and then 3 times y, and y is 2/3. And since this is a fraction inside, I want to turn this into a fraction outside. So going straight across, when I do 2 times 1, I get 2. And I get 1 times 2 is 2. And then these simplify to be 2 over 1. And since I'm adding, I need for this to have the same denominator. So this fraction is going to become 4 over 2. And when I'm done adding, I get 6 over 2, which equals 3. This problem has x and y as decimals, but it works the same way, so we'll just substitute. So 4 times, and x is 1.8, so I put 1.8 inside, minus 2, and y is 3.6, so I put that inside parentheses. And now I'm going to do 4 times 1.8, that's 7.6, 7.2. And 2 times 3.6 is also 7.2. And then I just have subtraction left, so I have 7.2 minus 7.2 is 0. This problem has a few traps set for you, but if you follow your order of operations PEMDAS rules, so you'll be able to get through it. Over here, the x is by itself, so there's not going to be anything next to it, so I can just write the 2. The y is by itself. It's next to a parentheses, so I'm just going to put the 5 here. Then in parentheses, instead of x, I'm going to put 2 in parentheses plus 5 in parentheses. And then over here, there's an x next to the y, so I have to use parentheses, otherwise it's going to look like a 25, when really we have 2 times 5. So looking at this, I first refer back to my order of operations, and the first thing is parentheses. So inside parentheses, I have 2 plus 5. So I'm just going to rewrite what I didn't use. And in parentheses, 2 plus 5 is 7. I do need the parentheses here because this number is not 57, it's 5 times 7. And then I bring down everything else that I didn't use, 1 step per line. The next thing I have is addition, multiplication, and multiplication. And this is where a lot of students run into a trap. I can't do the addition first because that comes after multiplication and division. So addition is last. And I do have multiplication in 2 different places. I have it here and here. So I'm going to do both of those for the next line. So I have 2 plus 5 times 7 is 35. And then 2 times 5 is 10. Now I have addition and addition, so the algebra rule is that I have to go left to right. So first I do 2 plus 35, that's 37, and then I bring down the 10. If you'd like to try some puzzles, at the end of this video, I have linked other videos where it has order of operations puzzles for you to try, and it'll make you a lot sharper in following the PEMDAS rules.